Hello everyone, Jules here from That Film Theory, and I'm here with something a little different to the majority of the other videos that we have on this channel, but it's possibly a little familiar to anyone who watched my video that tried to tie David Fincher's Seven together with Christopher Nolan's Batman films. Now basically, I fan-booked a theory that linked the two, and it got me and Jack Pooley thinking. Could there be more films with non-pronounced links that just make sense when paired? The answer, as this video indicates, is yes. And so today, I'm going to try and tie together one of the biggest and most brash video game series ever to a neo-noir thriller. So let's have a chat, as I'm Jules, and this is That Film Theory's idea that Collateral is a Grand Theft Auto movie. And remember, just like the previous video, this is just a bit of fun, so hope you enjoy getting a little silly. So, Collateral's plot follows a down-and-out cab driver, Max, who is unlucky enough to find himself driving an assassin, Vincent, around Los Angeles as he carries out 5 hits. The entire film is focused on Vincent's assignments in a manner that's not too dissimilar to a video game, with a list of objectives that the player's character must follow, and each mission leads to a climactic confrontation with a distinctive style. This, as a feature, isn't uncommon in cinema and could easily be seen as the spine of many action films, but it's worth noting the progression in which he follows them. Vincent's various hits all feel like typical assassination jobs that you'd find in any GTA game, driving around the city and killing ambiguously moral people. That Max is a cab driver as well is almost all too perfect, given the iconic utility of the cab driving missions in the GTA series and how the player can use them to skip travel between places and missions all the way back ever since the franchise went 3D. That was about 20 years ago. I suddenly feel so old. And finally, we have Detective Fanning, played by Mark Ruffalo, who is forever hounding the pair as they complete Vincent's tasks. It's very interesting that so much time is given to Fanning as well, because whereas again, it's not uncommon to see things from the side of the law in action movies, here we're given time to expand his character and his actions to prevent the killing spree. Therefore, it's not actually that much of a stretch to start applying these three with the term playable characters. Their stories are at once intertwined but ultimately separate, and each of them represents a core gameplay aspect. Vincent with the shooting scenes, Max with the driving, and Fanning with the pursuit and planning. When you look at things as such, it's very reminiscent of the character swapping mechanic found in the likes of GTA 5. But it's here that we need to make a distinction. In order for things not to get confusing, and seeing as Collateral came out almost 10 years before GTA 5, it's best to stop thinking like this film inspired the games or was inspired by the games. Instead, just look at the elements that make up both and see how one could slot into the other and vice versa. Vincent, for example, has a very distinctive style, and it's one that screams video game protagonist. I mean, when else have you seen such a handsome and stylish hitman whose very job should require that he doesn't grab people's attention? It's also a style choice that Michael from GTA 5 would absolutely love. Max, on the other hand, while seeming all too friendly and morally pure for a GTA protagonist, definitely holds with him a warped view of the American dream. Now that's a core belief that's held by many in the GTA franchise. Therefore, it's hard not to see shades of Nico or Franklin or even Claude within him. He dreams of a better life and has to do menial dross in order to make ends meet. Max drives a taxi just to survive while dreaming of a better life, which has been one of the most common protagonist through lines across the GTA series. That Max becomes an accessory to Vincent's crimes only makes him feel much more like our regular GTA hero, where events are forced upon the player and have to make them react to it. Elsewhere, we have a cameo from Jason Statham as a British gangster, because of course he is, who crosses paths with Vincent at the start of the movie. It's a GTA archetype if ever we've seen it, while the jazz musician that Vincent assassinates could easily be a mark from a GTA mission, and Mexican cartel drug lord Felix is a dead ringer for a typical GTA antagonist. Basically, every person of note within this film carries with them tropes that make them notable, but also slightly cheesy, and that is GTA in a nutshell. Look at the dialogue as well, as it evolves from being a fish-out-of-water story to a back-and-forth banter which sidelines the seriousness of the events. This, again, is absolutely in line with the writing of the video game series, which many times over will take concepts that are terrifying like violence and murder and just trivializes it. However, there's one more character that we've not actually discussed so far, and that's the character of the city itself. There's no denying that any and every GTA game is defined by its setting. The cities are all characters in of themselves, teeming with strange people and even stranger radio stations, and that is very true of Collateral as well. Director Michael Mann goes to great lengths to convey the atmosphere of a nighttime LA to audiences, focusing on the almost horror-like aspects of driving around the city late at night, all the while soaking in the sprawling environment, just as players are routinely invited to do in GTA. But more importantly, Mann follows GTA's lead and dares to go further, because he presents an uncanny valley version of his city. We know Collateral is set in LA and therefore is recognisable within the air quotes real world, but it's also heightened in some particular ways to present a hyper-real version that's both familiar and not at the same time. For starters, Mann's digital cinematography creates a uniquely dreamlike depiction of the city, separated entirely from any other action thriller set in LA, allowing the dingy alleyways and neon-soaked streets to come to life in a way that just feels slightly off-kilter. Now, this is a concept that's exploited fully inside the video game worlds of GTA. Look at Vice City, for example, which manages to convey a believable yet completely over-the-top presentation of the 80s, where greed and corruption aren't just present, they're public and strangely accepted. Liberty City in GTA 4 is basically New York dialed up to 10, and trust me, that place is already a solid 9. GTA co-creator Dan Houser once said that his series is about creating a reinterpretation of the US, a socially and virtually distorted prism of the real thing, a world that, at first glance, seems completely normal, and then reveals its absurdity as you play it. This is absolutely spot on with the approximation of Los Angeles that we see in Collateral. Recognizable, but at its core, different. This extends into singular shots as well, be it the gorgeous, sweeping shots of the city unfolding before Max, which are not unlike the opening cutscenes of many a GTA game, or the numerous overhead helicopter shots which pay homage to the earlier top-down GTA titles. Though this is almost certainly nothing more than a coincidence, it's an incredibly fortuitous one, which combined with Mann's unforgettable use of music while Max is driving around is sure to give players memories of cruising along in GTA while listening to the brilliant in-game radio stations. But if the point isn't yet clear enough, an enterprising fan even remade the film's memorable coyote sequence in GTA 5's powerful Rockstar editor suite. Needless to say, it's a note-perfect translation from one medium to another, and possibly one that inspired this theory. Who can say? Finally though, it's important to consider the movie's tone, for while Collateral certainly isn't outwardly comical social satire that GTA absolutely is, there are some darkly comedic moments present, such as Max helping Vincent talk back to his penny-pinching boss. Moreover though, there are moments of levity between all of the murders, such as the sequence where Vincent forces Max to visit his mother in hospital, which feels like one of the many non-shoots-out respite missions peppered throughout the GTA franchise. Though Collateral is mostly quite grounded, there's a subtle cartoonish to it, through surreal asides such as the now iconic coyote sequence where Max stops the car to watch a coyote cross the road, set to Audioslave's terrific Shadow on the Sun. This is exactly the sort of eccentric, seemingly random moment that the GTA series has become known for in recent entries, rewarding the player who dares to explore the city with an obviously pre-programmed but seemingly emergent scene intended to appear off the cuff and generated exclusively for that player. In broader narrative terms, some of Collateral's more implausible plotting does feel rather video gamey in its contrived nature, and so it's quite easy to accept Vincent and Max's story fitting very well into a GTA plot. And after all, who knows, if Max switched to the right radio station at the right time, he might have ended up listening to Laszlo Jones on Chatterbox FM. And there we go, that's our theory that Collateral is a GTA movie. It might be a bit silly and there are a lot of logic gaps that I'm asking you to leap across, but at the end of the day, it's meant to be just a bit of fun. So please sound off down in the comments section below whether you like this type of theory and like to see more sort of outlandish and out there stuff, or if you don't, because after all, it is a discourse, and to be honest, I just like hearing your thoughts. So let me leave you with one of my own. Collateral and the GTA franchise games are a lot of fun. They represent a sort of escapism, a craziness, something that is basically overwhelming. But you know what isn't fun when you're overwhelmed? Is your own mental thoughts. Sometimes they can get the best of you, but remember, you are not alone with those. You can reach out and speak to people because trust me, people care way more than you might think. As always, I've been Jules. You can go follow me at RetroJ with a 0 over on Twitter. You have been awesome. Never forget that. And I'll speak to you soon. Bye.